and with his cheeky groove and great publicity, he's also used controversial Last Temptation of Christ and is now making music in small venues around Europe with Tin Machine. Other parts of Tin Machine are sons of Soupy Sales, Hunt and Tony, who provided the grunt on Iggy Pop's album Lust for Life. But let Bowie wax lyrical about music, acting and fame.
Like I've felt about it since about 1974, that I could well do without it. It comes with the territory, but it's not implicitly important in my life, really.
We obviously
it's only important when I try and get a good table at a restaurant, then, you know, it's great.
David Bowie talking about a subject he's more than familiar with, fame. Back in the 1970s, Bowie could do no wrong. He was the most desired and admired superstar of the decade. He kept critics on their toes by constantly being one step ahead of his own image. Ziggy Stardust, Aladdin Sane, then the Thin White Duke. It was also a time fraught with temptation and strangeness. Looking back, when did Bowie see himself being the least likeable?
1975, 1976.
That period.
Oh, without doubt.
I mean, there was that very peculiar TV documentary, I remember, where you were in the back of a...
That's exactly the year. Yeah, I was completely bonkers.
What was that? Was that
drugs?
Drugs.
Mm.
Did you presumably stop then?
No, actually, I'm on them right now. Yes, I stopped.
Like many of his contemporaries, Bowie also found himself in demand as an actor. The Man Who Fell to Earth and Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence were his most noticeable films. But which makes him feel the most exposed, acting or singing?
As an actor, I don't really care because I'm only there to really see what the director's doing. And it's a luxurious position. I know, of course, I feel vulnerable as a musician and a performer because that's very dear to me, and to pretend that it wasn't would be unfair and not true.
As a live performer, Bowie's kept a low profile since his disastrous Glass Spider tour. Now, he's kept trimmings and effects to the minimum and formed a band for studio work and touring, something he hasn't done since The Spiders from Mars. On the Tin Machine album, he's even written with guitarist Reeves Gabrels. Is this a first for him?
In the past, like that, I'd really enjoy the process anyway. So that's that's not really so much a source of amazement. I mean, I wrote a lot with Brian Eno, Carlos Alomar, a couple of things with John Lennon, and he back to Mick Ronson and whatever. It's not a new thing in my particular life, but I think the real enjoyment is the activity of playing together, which is new. That is new. Because a lot of what I've done in the past has been, to begin with, studio-oriented, and then by the time it goes onto a stage, it's musically arranged. So it's almost like a musical choreography.
Despite Bowie's great friend Mark Bolan having died over a decade ago, his spirit is kept alive in some small way on the Tin Machine album.
Interesting thing is that Reeves played a lot of the guitar on this album on Mark's old guitar, because Mark gave me guitar tragically just before he died and said, "Hey David, I won't be using this no more, man. You can have it." And I've always kept it, and it's the first time it's been played since 1978, I guess. And so he played it on the album.
Although Bowie is now based in Switzerland and travels constantly, he claims to be not too far removed from the real world to write songs like Crack City.
I must point out that we were having a breakfast in the midst of a crack city, in fact, a crack block. Everywhere that we were, it was impossible, the place. This is when we were working in Nassau in the Caribbean. It's like a gateway to America, the Nassau, and it was just unreal. I've never seen anything like it. You couldn't go more than 10, 15 yards without being approached by some kid, 11, 10, 9, I don't know, even younger, looking like death warmed up, not offering you crack, and it was so endemic, it was unbelievable. It was frightening, you know, and it was just a sort of a magnification of what's probably happening in all major cities in the West, and will no doubt start happening here.
We leave Tin Machine in part 1 of Week in Rock. Part 2 follows, though, with rockers who think they're thespians.